logical creature.
Mm.
When I'm doing other things, I'm acting like an artistic creature. When I'm doing other things, I'm acting like a damn fool.
What are you?
Hmm?
What are you? I wanted to go back because Jordan didn't answer the riddle. Who is the master that makes the grass green? And I'll pose the riddle to you. And how would you answer that, Zen Koan?
I haven't the foggiest idea how to answer it for a Roshi to satisfy a Roshi, but I feel quite secure that I know the answer. And to screw up on the Zen, and the answer is you make the grass green. Galileo rediscovered that fact about 300 years ago, but it still hasn't sunk in. Of course, when I say you do it, that doesn't mean you do it all by yourself. There's got to be grass there. Or there's got to be something green there, or you wouldn't see green. But the green is not in the thing, and the green is not in you. The green is in the transaction between you and the external event. And that's thinks of Zen, as they would say in Japan.
It reminds me, you were a transactional psychologist, correct?
Hmm?
Were you a transactional psychologist at some point in your life?
Well, not exactly, but I have read a lot of people, writers of that school, and I once attended a workshop in which all the Ames perception demonstrations were shown, and that's almost as good as LSD as far as making you realize how much your nervous system is creating of what you think of as external reality. You know, one of the demonstrations there seems to be a window turning around, a window frame turning around, then they stick a bar in, and the window frame keeps turning around and goes right through the bar. Huh? You know, and they got dozens of demonstrations like that. There's the cockeyed room, two guys come in, it's usually two guys, at least when I saw it was. They walk to opposite ends of the room, one shrinks to a dwarf and the other enlarges to a giant. And there's a couple of dozen of those demonstrations. Then you really know the master who makes the grass green after you've been through that.
Well, how about for young aspiring, going back again to the young aspiring individual, who may be of any age but is young and aspiring, what do you suggest? You suggested earlier that they get into maybe general semantics, linguistics, NLP, kind of stay away from the occult or Western mysticism for now. Could you give them any practices, any simple exercises they can do in the morning, or evening, anytime?
Well, try forgiving everybody that you're pissed off at. And try abolishing the is from your language as much as possible, at least when you're writing, and then try practicing. Try to get it out of your conversation too. And keep reading books on consciousness and evolution to find clues to lead you wherever your path will be the path for you will be found. There are different paths for different people. Why are there so many schools of Buddhism? It's not because people like to form schools, but then the message is for everybody, but different people have to receive it through different funnels. Arlen and I were married in a Shinran Buddhist temple. I like Shinran Buddhism because it's the world's kindest religion. It's a branch of Amida Buddhism. Amida was the Buddha of boundless compassion who refused to enter nirvana until all sentient beings could enter with him. So the teaching arose that if you called on him in Japanese, the name is Namu Amida Butsu, in the name of Amida Buddha, with true faith, you will eventually, no matter how many incarnations it takes, you'll eventually get rid of all the negativity and become pure enlightenment. And Shinran was a reformer who said, that's asking too much of people. Some people are just not capable of true faith. They have a constantly skeptical and questioning mind. They should not be banned from release. So he taught that if you say Namu Amida Butsu, whether you believe in it or not, it will work. I like that. That's my idea of a religion that doesn't give anybody a bum trip. Most religions seem to be concentrating on putting people on bum trips, you know. That's the only religion in the world I know that never puts you on a bum trip. If you've said it just once, And I've said it 3 times, I think, in the last, Namu Amida Butsu, guaranteed. He's like a finance company in reverse. He wants to give you something for nothing. How can you reject a short-term interim savior like that? His only real competition is J.R. Bob Dobbs.
I guess I'm just wondering when you started writing.
Oh, God, that's so far back I can't even remember. Before I got out of grammar school, I was doing cartoon books. Then I discovered there were books without pictures in them, and I figured, hell, it's much easier to just do the words and don't have to do the pictures, too. I was writing all through my high school years. I got published in the high school literary journal. Anybody can do that. You know, I sold my first 2 articles on my 26th birthday. That was a very happy birthday.
When did you know, was there a point in your life that you felt writing would be the key part in your path?
I always wanted it to be, but I didn't have anybody to encourage me for a long time. My parents told me, you got to get a job, you got to be reasonable, you try to be a writer, you'll probably starve to death, etc., etc. I kept on. I got a job and I wrote in my spare time.
Would you consider writing an activity that connects you to a higher source of your being?
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the ones where I'll give you a definite yes or no. Every writer has a different name for it. Homer called it the muse. Faulkner called it the daemon, which is Greek. It's not quite the same as the Christian demon. It's not evil. It's just your higher self. Mailer calls it the navigator in the unconscious. Whatever you want to call it. When the writing is going good, you're not doing it. Something that you're channeling, and I'm not going to speculate about what you're channeling, but you're channeling.
What are your feelings about death? Do you have a philosophy or a spirituality based on, is there another life for you?
I don't know. Somebody asked the Zen master, what happens after death? And he replied, I don't know. And they said, but you're a Zen master. He said, but I'm not a dead Zen master. And I figure there are 5 alternatives. Oblivion. How the hell can that scare anybody? If you're oblivious, by definition, you don't know it's talking. Now, what's frightening about something you can't experience? Absorption into the Godhead. That sounds like even better than acid, so I have nothing to fear there. Reincarnation. That's not so bad. If I come back as a cockroach, I can jump around on the keys of somebody's computer and write poetry like Archie did for Don Marquis. Ever read any of the Archie poems? Oh, Archie was a cockroach who used to jump around the keys of Don's typewriter while he was out of the office at night. There are 3 books of Archie's poems.
So a cockroach has its purpose too.
Oh yeah, at least Archie did. Or I might come back as a human being and meet Arlen again and marry her again. That's a wonderful thought. Then there's hell. Now the climate is said to be dreadful, but the company is it's the best minds of human history. Everybody's in hell, you know. Everybody worth knowing. So you got a dreadful climate, but great philosophical inspiration and fascinating people to talk to. And then there's heaven. That one really scares me. I hear it's full of Christians, and some of them even claim nobody gets in but Christians. There's an even more sinister report that the streets are guarded by the United States Marines. An all-Christian place with Marines on every street corner, it sounds like the worst totalitarian state I can imagine. So heaven is the only thing that scares me. But fortunately, I have no chance of going there because I'm not a Christian. And the other alternative, you see, they all have a bright side to them. So the only thing I'm really afraid of is heaven, and I can't go there.
How much more to ask?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you're quite welcome.